This is the Washington Times front page for Monday, August 25th, 2025. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. Russia has made clear that Ukraine has a right to exist, but only if it agrees to let people go from the country's Donbas region, which Russia wants as part of any peace deal. Ben Wolfgang reports Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov told NBC News that Russia recognizes Ukraine's right to exist only if Ukraine relinquishes control over the Donbas and its people. The region has been an epicenter of the conflict for years. Russian forces occupy portions of it, but other areas of the Donbas are home to some of Ukraine's most heavily guarded cities and fortified positions. President Trump said in a letter to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that any agreement must protect Ukraine's sovereignty. European leaders also said the West would be walking into a trap if it supports ceding any Ukrainian land to Russia. Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator and former girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein, has told the Justice Department that she never witnessed Donald Trump in any sexually inappropriate situations. Mallory Wilson reports the DOJ released transcripts of interviews that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche conducted last month with Maxwell. She said she never saw the president in any type of massage setting, and he was never inappropriate with anybody. She also said she doesn't think former President Bill Clinton, who also knew Epstein, received massages. Maxwell is serving 20 years in prison after a conviction of sex trafficking. Epstein died in a New York City jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Attorney General Pam Bondi and others in the Trump administration had promised to release the files on Epstein to the public, but did not. Several progressive groups that decried Texas's mid-decade redistricting that will benefit Republicans have cheered on California and its move to do the same for Democrats. Stephen Dinan reports Common Cause has said it was changing its playbook to back California Governor Gavin Newsom and his plan. The League of Women Voters, however, has said that redrawing congressional maps in the middle of a 10-year cycle for cheap political advantage is bad, whether by Republicans or by Democrats. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Democratic-controlled states will respond appropriately, but didn't spell out what that means for his home state of New York, where Governor Kathy Hochul has vowed to lead efforts to have Democrats redraw the maps. President Trump has upended traditional economic and trade policy, part of which has involved government taking a cut of the profits or an ownership stake in private businesses receiving government support. Jeff Murdoch reports he has set his sights on companies such as U.S. Steel, Intel, and others. The Intel plan involves converting nearly $11 billion in recent federal grants into an equity share worth about $100 billion. That would be the largest government intervention in a private business since the bailout of the U.S. auto industry under President Obama. Critics argue that Trump is pursuing unprecedented government control of private companies. They say his policies echo those of socialist governments that use state power to shape major sectors of the economy. And finally, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has critics on edge at home and in Washington ahead of a summit at the White House. Andrew Salmon reports Lee and President Trump have tested Korean nerves. Trump has not yet assigned an ambassador to South Korea, and domestic supporters and critics are skeptical of Lee's untested diplomatic skills. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.